last year, I don't know how many of you know the Colorado Ag Water Alliance. They do a drought planning grant process, which I think is mostly money from the Gates and the Walton Family Foundations to just try to find ways to do agricultural production in Colorado with less water. So a couple years ago, I did twin row corn with like 20 different variety cover crop in between the twin rows. So I did 30 inches, and then skipped 2 rows, and then to 30 and 38 on a short day corn on some pretty marginal soil with only about 12 inches of irrigation water on it in 2022, and it worked out pretty good. We got 120 bushel corn crop, and then it didn't get very tall, but and then we grazed the rest after that. So last year, I went to the Colorado Ag Water Alliance and asked for a grant, and I thought that I wanted to do something similar again. I wasn't going to do twins. I was just going to do 60-inch corn and grow cover crop in between it, and I was going to try to find a taller stature corn, maybe a few more days longer, that I could maybe graze some sheep in between, just because I thought that might be an interesting idea. And as I thought more and more about cover cropping, the seed gets awfully expensive, and it's, as you mentioned, annual grasses are much more labor intensive than perennial grasses, and it's more passes across the field, and the seed was pretty expensive. So I decided that alfalfa looks like a decent cover crop, and it has a little better high-end value long term. And so what we did is we just prepped the ground for corn, and on the same day we planted corn, which was June 1st this year. We had too much rain. We were kind of held out of the field for a little while, so it held us back a little bit. So on June 1st we planted corn, 60-inch corn, and then we broadcast alfalfa right with it and packed it all in the same day. And then it rained. So this is a field that we worked on, and again, unfortunately, I didn't have enough cash to buy Roundup Ready alfalfa. I was hoping to, but I didn't get it done. So we just planted a conventional dormant alfalfa. We are a little limited in Livermore. We catch too many frosts early and late, so some of the better alfalfa varieties don't like that. So we try to stick with dormant varieties. So that's what we did. This is the best picture because it's black and white and you can't see what color weeds there is in that. But so anyway, so we just watered it with only, from the time we planted, we had 8 inches of rain, and then we added 4 inches of water all the way to tassel. And the struggle we had, the next picture I think will show this. So we had some volunteer cover crop stuff come up, so you see all the triticale that's coming up in there, but we did get good germination on everything, but it's hard to see from the back. But Livermore is a nice place to farm, with exception to a lot of things. It's 6,000 feet, the pH is really high, but the nice thing we have is we don't have hail, except for when I was trying this out. And when the corn got to about V4 or V5, we got a pretty good hailstorm, and it really stunted the corn really bad. And so the weeds and the alfalfa could catch up with it. And it never really got ahead of it again. And then as it got to tassel, it was hailed again. And so you can kind of see the damage that was done there. Anyway, so we ended up having to just foil the crop, and we cut it and baled it and got about 3 tons to the acre of just dry alfalfa mixed with weeds and dry corn stalks and whatever else was in it. And it wasn't all bad. The benefit of doing this, and I think it's a really good thing, there's some really good research out of Minnesota and Kansas that I could get a head start on an alfalfa crop by doing this and still get maybe a half-rate corn crop out of it, and then have an alfalfa crop ready to go for next year. And so that's I think it was a success for that reason. Unfortunately, I didn't get my corn that I wanted, but that's okay. We'll feed whatever we grew to whatever cows I raise, and they'll eat it. But that's the long and short of it. I would recommend some better tools than I have. So I'm kind of a cheapskate when I buy equipment. I have Moonlight as an auction rep forever, and so this is an interesting video. Fun stuff about being a rancher and a farmer is you get to see interesting things. I don't know if you'll be able to see it though. Anyway, anytime I go around, this is a video of a bull snake eating a rat, and just interesting to see. It's out in that field. When I was out checking it out, you can hear them squeal a lot, and so you can find them if you.
Or the snake.
I don't know what makes all the noises. I don't really reach down in there and ask them questions. But yeah, you can't see crickets. There's a mouse and a rat and a snake in there, and they all team up and beat each other up. So I just thought I'd throw that in there.
You can sort of see the snake up at the top.
Yeah, there's
And there's a
And you
little
can see
bit
the
of,
rat.
yeah, there's the head of our mouse right here, a rat, and then there's a snake around it, wrapped around it right there. And I find these things about once or twice a year, and they're just interesting. So she asked me to send her videos, and this one happened to be on there. So some of the advantages, some of the things I learned that we need to do better is if I didn't have such cheap equipment, I probably could do better. If I had a better planter that had more tools on it, I could only put pop-up with my corn. If I had a 2x2 on there, my corn would have had a lot better chance to fend off the alfalfa and have a little better fertilizer. The other thing I didn't know is baby alfalfa takes way more nitrogen than regular alfalfa does. And I didn't put enough nitrogen on there for both corn and baby alfalfa. And so the alfalfa scavenged too much of the corn's nitrogen and kind of limited its growth. If I would have been able to have a 2x2 offset on it, I would have had a little more nitrogen for the corn. And of course, if I had one tripped it or strip tilled it first, I probably could have banded in some more nitrogen for the corn to actually take off and stay ahead of everything. And then of course the last thing, whether you like spraying or not, the easiest answer would be to plant Roundup Ready alfalfa and just pretty much spray everything and kill everything that you don't want. And the corn and the alfalfa would be left. And it would do pretty well. The alfalfa would grow up this far, and the corn kind of would start to shadow it. Now there is some shadow tolerant alfalfa species that are a little better for this than just the cheapest variety you can get at the co-op. But again, I bought the cheapest variety I could get at the co-op. And then we grazed it afterwards, after we cut it and baled it and then grew it back up. As soon as it frosted, we grazed it again in the fall. And like I said, we got pretty good production of weeds and corn and alfalfa, and the cows are eating it right now in the snow, and they really appreciate it.
There you go.
Any questions? It's kind of a complicated project. May, you have a question?
Why did you not let me up there?
Yes, ma'am.
So do you think he'll do it again and just add more nitrogen, or?
Well, I don't really have another field that I want to transition over to a perennial crop like that right now. Yeah, I will do it again eventually, but I won't do it again this year.
And are you gonna plant corn in the alfalfa next year?
No, we'll let the alfalfa run for 4 or 5 years, just as straight alfalfa. And as the maybe as the alfalfa thins out, I might take a first cutting year and then just plant some corn straight into alfalfa and then spray it off. But that won't be for a long time, 2 or 3 years. Very good. Well, thank you.